Welcome to the Dandy DIYer. Today features this pumpkin tin man. He's made out of a tin can. He has wooden peg legs, some gingham fabric, along with the number 31. So he could be a jack-o'-lantern tin can man. He has a crow atop his head to accent him with his moss hair. This is a fun DIY, and you probably already have all of the supplies that you need in order to make him. Grab your can, come with me. Let's get to making this handsome, adorable little pumpkin tin man. On this DIY, we are going to be using tin cans. You'll also need a styrofoam ball around 2.5 inches to 3 inches, another chunk of styrofoam to go inside the can. You'll also need a wooden skew, and we're going to be using the Gilder's paste wax here. I have the rust and I have the black. This is a method to color up your metal, still be able to tell that it is metal, and instantly get rusting effects. So let's get started. You are absolutely going to love the pumpkin tin can for your fall decor. In starting out this DIY, we're going to start with our tin can, and we're going to use the Gilder's paste wax to get this black and rusted looking. Now I have an additional tin can here, and I found that I really liked how this worked out for the scarecrow. If you're looking for the scarecrow video using the tin cans, check up here in the box or look in the description box down below underneath this video. Click on that and go over and watch that video as well. This one is a lot of fun, and basically I will insert this smaller can into the larger can with the styrofoam, and then when I put the head on, the skew will go inside. If you want to have a secondary tin can that fits inside, this is another way. Now you do not have to have this. You can actually just use your styrofoam, and then you can plug this up with some cardboard or something to keep it held inside. And we'll be putting legs on our pumpkin head for this fall DIY. This decor is really awesome. It looks very primitive and gorgeous. So let's get started, and I'll show you how to use these paste wax. Now I'm going to take the black, and I'm going to put it sparingly on this tin can. It doesn't have to cover the whole thing. You'll just put it in certain areas to give it that look. Now another thing is you can actually paint your tin can. You could do black on your tin can and get the same thing. But the reason why I like using the paste is you can see, you can still tell that this is a tin can. And it doesn't pretty much cover it. It's just the idea that if this can were sitting out and aged on its own. So that's really what we're doing. And on this particular one, I'm going to put more of the rusting effect on it. And this right here is the back seam of my can. I'm just going about and putting the black on here. Now, I am putting black until I'm satisfied, and I'm pretty satisfied with that. That's not a whole lot of black on there, and it's just enough. The great thing about the Gilder's paste wax is they dry really quick. In about 10 minutes, they'll be completely dried, and within 24 hours, it'll be what they call permanently cured. These are water and soap clean up, real easily clean up, so you don't have to act immediately, but you do want to make sure that you cleanse that with soap and water. And I'm going to move on and use the rust, and I want it more intense on this pumpkin tin can. The rust, I really want that strong orange color. Basically use you a clean dabber. If you do this on top of that black, it will mud it and make it look a lot brighter yellow. It won't be as deep orange as it is right now. So that's real important that just use you a clean applicator. You can do this with a brush. You can use your straight fingers and put it on there a lot of times. And it actually tells you out on instructions. These paste wax, they are really great. They've been around many, many years. And they are the original. If you're looking for a wax that's reasonably priced and has multitude of colors and works on everything, this works on metal, wood, fabric, glass, ceramics, clay, and this is the wax to go for. And it does dry permanently once it dries. You can use these. They last a very long time. And they're coming these adorable little screw-on lid tins, which we as DIYers can always use a tin for something. Store something in or turn it into a DIY. Finish rusting up my tin. I'll be back. And see, I'm already touching it. And it dries up really, really fast. But while there are still some of the thicker places drying for this instant rust, that's what I love about it. That is instant rust. It took me less than 3 minutes to do this can. And it is completely finished. I've done the black, I've done the rust. It's awesome and painless, no mess, and it's a done deal. Next, we're going to take our fabric, and I have my orange that I've already tea stained. You need a 8 by 10 inch piece of fabric to cover a 2.5 inch ball. With my 8 by 10 square cut out, the way that I generally do it is I just bring my corners together. I bring these two up, I bring this one up, and I bring this one up. And then that way, it has this natural pleats and stuff in it, and everything is suitable so that when I tie my jute twine around it, it'll all be caught in there, and I'll just have this nice development here of these rolls and folds. Now, before I tie my jute twine on, I take my skew. I know that I'm in the dead center, and I go ahead and place my skew into that ball so that that part's already done. Just be careful not to push it too far, but far enough that it's good and on there. Now, when I tie that jute twine around that, it'll all be gathered on that ball together. Now, we need to work on his face, and I'm going to do his eyes. I have these Google eyes, and basically what I do is I pick me out two, like the small, medium size ones. I try to make sure that they're matching in size. And I actually cut these open and just get the black out of it, because, well, this list to me is more suitable for like a stuffed animal or something like that. So I find me two, and I actually take and I just cut the little edge off right here. You can literally pour out that black. So when you do like that, see, it just comes right out. And I do both of them that way. That way I have my two black dots. And it's just so easy to use these in that way. You can get these Google eyes at Dollar Tree. Simple as that. There's my eyes. Now for his nose, I'm going to use this orange fabric I have over here. It's a small strip because he looks real prim. Cut me a little straight piece here, and then I can trim it down to size. Pumpkin nose. And just pick a side of your ball, just lay it there. Just staging right now. So that's going to be nose, is eyes. But also eyes, I have this webbing. You could use white fabric. I just happen to have this here. I'm going to see how it works. But I'm going to cut out two rounds, the background for the eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and glue his parts on. With the fabric and all, just make sure you spread your glue out. You don't want it like stacked. You really want to make sure that you've got it spread it out as much as possible. To make his smile, I have his 20 gauge rusty wire. I got this from Factory Direct, and I will put you a link in the description box down below. This came in a set of 3, and you actually get bob wire, you get that's rusted, you get 20 gauge and 22 gauge wire. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll off enough to make him a smile. So take your pencil and stay about an inch away from the end and go ahead and wrap it around the pencil, but leave distance in there. You can make it up tighter if you want and stop at 1 inch from the end. And now you have this neat little roll, and you can press it together to make it more small, or you can stretch it out to make it longer. And you want to line this up with his eyes, so just underneath the eyes, and make his smile. And I'm actually going to be sticking this into the styrofoam, and it's usually really well, and it'll go through the fabric and all. And then I just do one side at a time and put it through the fabric into the styrofoam. And then you can adjust his smile. Doesn't he look cute? We have him smiling. We have his eyes. Now we can work on his head. Now next we're going to do his hair per se. Got some Spanish moss, and this is for the top of his head because, well, he's our pumpkin. These come off my corn on the cob. These are the actual pieces from where it comes off the stalk, and that would just be perfect for his stem on his pumpkin head. Our fall DIY decor, our tin can pumpkin. This one's about the size I like. I think I'll just cut this part off. That's about right there. We can glue that into place. And as you can see, they're hollow. Now for the Spanish moss, I'll just put a little bit of glue around the top of this, and then just place it right over the top here. Just work it down in there. I have these crows that I got from Amazon. I'll put you an affiliate link down below. And I'm going to take one of these and put up here with him. But I think that I'm going to take the feet off and just kind of put the crow up there because he's so much bigger on this little head. So I think that's what I'll do, is just trim off this bottom part. And I'll just place it and sit it there and let the glue set up. So I've cut off about half his stick, and I'm just going to put it down into the can. I'm going to make sure it's the back. I want to turn it around so that he is in the very front. There we go. That's simple. We have our pumpkin tin can man built. I'm going to make sure to get him centered. And then if you got any extra fabric that you didn't cut off, you can kind of utilize that to your advantage on the can. I usually take and glue it down on the can, and it holds it in place, because by the time we wrap fabric around this, you're not even going to notice that. But it just keeps his head from spinning on you, and then that way it stays right there where you want it. So a lot of times I will take and put just a little bit of glue on the fabric and just put it against the can. That way he still has his movement, and that fabric just folds right over the edge. I don't mind that fabric folding over the edge. You could cut it off if you want to. It's personal preference. And his head still turns a little bit. You still get that little bouncy effect if you want to. And then for me, I'm going to make sure that he is all the way in that can. And that helps hold that one too. And I did not put no glue on the styrofoam. So he's looking really, really great. Let's decorate him and give him a tag. Okay, so I'm going to put a burlap collar around my pumpkin's neck. And I have my needle here. This is just a set that you can get from Walmart or anywhere. That is your tapestry needles. And you can thread your burlap string through there, or your jute twine. And since this is burlap, it come out of it. That's what I'm stringing through it. Now, I want this fray to kind of dangle over the edge of the can, so I'm going to actually run a pin up here. And one thing that I do is I put a little bit of Elmer's glue right here on the edges and let that dry. That will keep your burlap from coming out on this loose weave burlap. And then I just go down here and feed it through there, just a basting stitch, and just run it through real quick and gather it up so that I can tie it around the collar and make adjustments to his neck. And this just happens really quick. It only takes a second to run this needle through there. And since my string is about the length of this, I just try to gather it up and get it through there. Then that way I can pull this out on this side and get it around his neck. And I have a cotton fabric that is plaid, and it is in that same line. So I just have these already pre-cut strips, and I can wrap that around there and decide how long I want it. Now I've got my pumpkins fabric tied on there, and I have me a rusty bell and a safety pin. And if you haven't done this before, it's really easy. You just take your safety pin undone, and most of these medium-sized bells, you can run it right through the pin and then just pin it on. Now you might have to work at trying to get your pin buckled if you haven't done it a time or two, and just be patient with yourself. And once you stick that pin in there, you can run that bell to the back and then just push it closed. And sometimes you might get it where you want it the first time. If luck be on your side, let's see if luck's on my side, and you can get it clasped. I have even taken the needle nose pliers and closed it up just so I could get my fingers out of the way. And so see, you can just fix his bell just like that. Now, next thing is we have legs and we have a tag. Now, the inspiration piece, this has the number 31. So what I did, these rubber clear stamps come from Dollar Tree, and these are the large. I want you to look at these. These are wonderful. They're very expensive if you have to order them. So check Dollar Tree for these beautiful large size stamps. They're awesome. And then the tags, I already had this one tea-dyed, but you know to crumble it up. And you can coffee stain these. They look even better coffee stain, but a lot of times I'll take my stamp to it and just get it that look, you know, and twist and turned. Another thing is a new tool that I had recently introduced you to, and it is the Tim Holtz Distressing. This is a paper distresser. This thing is wonderful, and you can literally just take and rub it down the edge. Has these little razor blades inside of it. You see those little blades? And they distress that tag with such ease, and it just takes a moment to do it. And then where I have already took and curled this paper up, when I go to stamp it, the letters or the numbers that go on it may look distorted, and that's pretty good too, because it still gives it that worn look. But you can use this thing by going in one direction, or you can go back and forth, and it just puts these tiny little tears into the paper and distresses it as though that tag has been around for a long time. And so you can kind of see the edges. And so it just rolls them up so beautiful and perfect. And it doesn't take a whole lot of work. So I've really enjoyed this distresser. It's been a wonderful tool. Now with the stamp, naturally I have my number on the acrylic block that I have this on. I also got this from Dollar Tree. And I'm just putting 31 on there as though it were going to be Halloween. Almost like he's a pumpkin, but maybe also a jack-o'-lantern. And as I had told you before, roll your tag over like that before you stamp. That way, if it's tossing in the wind or it's being blown around, you're going to see that number correctly either way you go. Now, if I use the cotton tie on my tags, I tie it up rather close, about an inch from the top. it gives me enough grace there that a lot of times by the time I bring the tag through, it's going to hang down or be about where I want it. And that's just the best way to judge it, is about 1.5 inches is the distance there now, maybe 2 inches. And if that's too much, then I can cut it off. So a lot of times I'll leave that tail on it because I can run it up under there a lot better. It gives me more control so that I don't per se mess up where I've already got everything, especially when you're doing this kind of last of the decorating part of what you're doing. You're putting your tag on, you're putting all your little details in line and decorating your piece. And so see, that tail gives me that grace that I needed, and then I can just readjust his fabric because we've got it pinned. And now when I get this through here, and then I want to take my tag and literally turn it backwards, run it through the cotton, then once it loops over, and see, the great thing is you can fold these if you need to. And so if you want to cut this part off, these extra tails on the cotton, and then if you need to, you can put a dot of glue back here just to keep the weight from pulling it down if it's not quite where you want it. And you just have to look at it with it standing up to see if everything's hitting where you want it to. So you want it to be seen, but at the same time, you don't want it to overtake the main part of your project. So I'll give you some better shots once I get his legs on and get him in position. Now I've selected these as his legs, and you could use anything. Some wooden pegs. I've got different ones that I've gotten. These are the woodpecker birch spindles. These are 3.5 inch. You can get these on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description box down below. With these, you'll need some extra blocks to give it balance. These are larger, and this is recycling an old entertainment center. And I'm going to use my Gorilla Clear Grip adhesive and put it on the bottom. Now what I did is I went ahead and put a cardboard down here, and I glued it with this as well. This will give a flat surface because the other can, and this one I'm doing different than the ones I've done before. I also have pierced those holes in the side, so once my legs are glued on, and they will sit back here in the back. I marked them in 2 places, but they'll sit back here in the back. And once that's done, I will take and I will run a screw in through there and give them a little more security for the years to come in case the adhesive lets go. But this cardboard and this wood, both of them wood, and this will definitely grip. It also does metal, as you can see. This is the good for this, and it states metal, glass, fabric, wood, ceramic, leather, paper, plastic, and more. So I'll get those on and I'll show it to you. We have officially completed our DIY for today, and I am sure that you are pleased with the outcome. He is handsomely adorable, this pumpkin tin can man. With his number 31 expecting October 31st for Halloween, his rusty bell, and his pal here, the Black Crow. With his burlap collar and his tin can, along with his pegged legs, he is sure to delight your household with a warm treat and welcome for Halloween and the coming holiday season for Thanksgiving. And if you are a primitive individual, he will fit your decor year-round. I know you'll enjoy making this pumpkin tin man. Make an extra one for a friend. And while you're at it, share this video. Give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. If you would rather purchase than to make, you can purchase him on the website. On the screen is DandyLionSoap.com/shop. Till the next DIY, this is Elizabeth, and I'll be crafting y'all.